Hello, hello, and peace, 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 family. This is Doing Her Thing, though. I am back to speak with you all again today on a few topics. I'm going to call this one My Spiritual Journey and Other Topics. So, before we get into it, I want to say thank you for waiting. I know I said I'd be right back, and that was 6 months ago. But of course, life and things sometimes take precedence over what we want to do or what we desire to do, right? So I want to start off with a just a quick opening meditation and prayer to set the energy and the vibe and a tone for all those who come across my channel and under the sound of my voice. Ashe. I cleanse this space, this airway, for high level, high vibration conversations. May the messages and information reach those who are open to receive. Today is Thursday, September 9th, 2022. On this calendar, I give thanks to all ancestors known and unknown, all ancestors known and forgotten. I give thanks to my higher selves, the ascended masters, my spirit guides, all archangels, all deities and energies that work in me and through me and with me. I give thanks to the five elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. I give thanks to the earth for always providing. I give thanks to the cosmic mother, the black womb, the great mother, the blackness of space. And I give thanks to the Creator, the Most High, who was in us and that we will return to. May only those beings and energies and deities that are for the highest vibration, the highest good of the collective, be with us now. I also want to give thanks to a master teacher, the Honorable Brother Dick Gregory. Ashe. Okay, so let's get started. I wanted to discuss today and give listeners a little insight on my spiritual journey and what got me on this path in particular. Um, I'm going to start back with my childhood, which I had a good childhood overall. There was some traumatic points and things that occurred, not just in childhood, but in life in general. And that is really what pushed me into, um, led me into this path I'm on now. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people, they tell you it was trauma, a car accident, whatever it was, that kind of shook them and woke them up um, to see things differently. So as a child, I was always a little different. I was very quiet. I was the youngest of out of four of us. Um, two were two were cousins, but definitely always considered brother and sister. But I was the youngest, very quiet, very shy, timid, didn't talk a lot, believe it or not. um, but I noticed I liked a lot of alone time. Um, I would always be curious about the universe and God and church and what it all meant. I was raised in the church Baptist. My grandmother was actually a Catholic, practiced Catholicism, which I didn't realize till I was older. And she's actually one of the only blacks that I knew at that time who practiced Catholicism. but definitely heavy influence in the church on both father and mother side. And at one point in my teenage years, I was actually in the process to be ordained to be a minister, and actually gave a sermon at one point, to the best of my ability at 17. Um, Gave a sermon in a church, but that's a whole nother story. Didn't follow through with that because I did not feel at the time that calling was for me. And I don't take those things lightly when you get up to speak in front of people, or especially speak anything that is going to directly impact a person's life or um, their decision making skills, or things that will just directly affect them emotionally and mentally. You know, so some questions I was asked: well, why would you get into this? What gives you the right to speak? Well, I give myself the authority to speak. You know, and I followed my spirit and I wrestled back and forth, like, no, don't do that, don't say that. Who are you? My life experience gives me the authority. My pain and suffering gives me the authority, because we all go through the same things, and somebody somewhere needs to hear this and needs to know that you are not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not losing your mind. I've had also had some personal experiences, coming up with different beings, angels, demons, spirits that were unexplainable to me, and that's what confirmed for me and made me want to dive deeper. Um, like, I gotta know what this is. I gotta know why this happened. You know, is this thing real? And after so many experiences, I said, oh no, this is for sure real. For example, in the church, I was doing a revival with some relatives. We were all going to church together. And we had been practicing all week in the choir, singing the songs we were going to do for the revival. And revival night, oh, the spirit hit me so hard. Before I knew it, I was, up in a pew shouting, dancing and shouting, running back and forth around the church. And actually, what that Holy Ghost is, you're being mounted by a spirit, you know. In a lot of these African traditional religions, some people call them ATRs. We're taught that, oh, that's devil, that's the witchcraft. You're going to go to hell. Stay away from that. But a lot of things we do, and I keep referencing church because that's where my roots were. And I know a lot of us have roots in the church, which is nothing wrong with. I have no disrespect for the church, no issue with the church. Everybody's choice is your own. But I remember once I had received what we call the Holy Ghost, it was like a picture movie flashing before my eyes. And I'm, about 16, 17. And I saw everything I did in life. It just flashed before my eyes like a photo, like a movie playing. And I saw times, and some people saying, this is when I kept you. This is when I saved you. This is when I protected you. And what that spirit really is your higher self. You know, I don't subscribe to worshiping anything outside of myself anymore. My understanding and my research is that all these energies are inside of me. I don't worship any trees, any gods, any African gods. I work with different energies and deities, but I know that it is my energy and my power. Like Snoop said, who do I want to thank? I want to thank me. So I might be going back and forth, so you guys bear with me. So on this spiritual journey, those are some things that occurred with me that, to give you a little insight on this journey, some things that occurred with me, and always having a strong intuition, picking up on vibes on people. You have an auric field or auric space. Some people say, give me 50 feet, give me my personal space. Even if you put your hand out in front of you, I was always taught anybody come past that personal space. Not just in front of you, but that same distance all around you, behind you, on the side of you, that is your personal space. And when you come in contact with people, or, you in a certain distance from you, from your physical body, you can definitely pick up on their energies, and their vibe. Sometimes even further away than that, even across the room. in my work, I come in contact with so many different customers, so many different people from all over the world. And I've always been very intuitive. I can pick up on how people are feeling. Um, and I don't know what it is. I can't even put it into words, but it's just the energy, that gut feeling. Pay attention to that gut feeling in your stomach. Um, and a gut feeling does not always mean, oh, something bad happening. It could be something that you need to pay attention to or that you need to act on. So I wanted to also speak on that too. So on the spiritual journey, it was rough for me, kind of coming out of the closet, so to speak, or coming to terms with myself that, hey, this is really who you are. This is what you're into. I've always been what you may call a wild woman, a gypsy type. I like to be barefoot in nature. Um, always had an affinity for crystals, astrology, spirits, um, religions, different languages. And I finally came to terms with, you know what? It's okay not to be like everybody else. Even I looked at over the years how my physical appearance has changed as far as what the popular fashions were, the way I used to dress, do my hair, makeup, all that stuff has changed for me. And it's nothing wrong with that. But I realize as a process on my spiritual journey, I continue to transform and evolve, you know. Um, and let me also start by saying this: I am not a spiritual guru. I do not know everything. I am a student and a teacher. And I will only share and try and teach things based on my own experience, not what I heard from somebody else, not anything that I copied or plagiarized, from my own personal experience. And that's the best point I can start from my own experience. So on this journey, it was hard when I would have certain family members come over and see certain items or altars. Oh, she's a witch. She's into voodoo. It even got to a point where I would have coworkers coming up to me asking me, "Hey, what is your religion? What exactly do you believe? You seem different, you know." And first I would be offended, like, what the hell do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm a regular person like everybody else. But I think it's the energy that I began to exude as my mind and my consciousness changed and expanded. Is what it really was when I realized what it was. Um, it can be lonely at the top. This journey is a solo journey. It's the hero's journey. For my game heads out there, my gamers, if anybody's familiar with Grand Theft Auto, the goal is to finish the journey. Yeah, you're gonna come across holes on the game, or jack some cars, find some guns, some money, whatever it is, shoot a couple people. But the ultimate goal of Grand Theft Auto is to finish the journey, finish the mission. You don't want to get distracted, playing too much around in the game, because your ultimate goal is to get to the end of the game and finish. Okay. A more basic example: Mario Brothers. Okay. Now, when I still play Mario, I like to run back, go through the world again, get all the coins I can get extra lives right before the time run out. Okay, but again, the goal was not to accumulate all the coins and tools I could in the game. The goal was to get to the end, to finish before that time clock runs out. So I want to draw the same comparison to life. This, because life is this is a spiritual journey. And if you don't know, let me be the first to tell you. Every second, even as I'm speaking, we are getting closer to what we perceive as death. And that is not a bad thing. It's a graduation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to get off topic. I was talking about my spiritual journey. So, again, being talked about, being outcast, not being invited into certain groups or certain events because I was labeled as different or weird. And sometimes, my intuition is so strong, I can already kind of tell. If you ever walked into a room and you can tell you've been talked about before you enter because of the vibe and the energy. And I would get that a lot in certain settings. And I got okay with not being invited. I got okay with not being picked for certain things because I was different. And it actually became, I used that as my superpower. you know. And one of the things that led me to share Um, After I got over the fear of being ridiculed and, oh, I really know you. I know you from back when you were 22 and what you used to do and all the things that can come to your mind. And I prayed on, I trust the Spirit. Spirit says, share, speak, as long as it's from the heart. And what I found that there were so many others who had similar feelings, similar situations, um, questions, and that's what led me to begin to um, try and speak more publicly. But I stand strong in my convictions. I stand strong in my spirit and what I know is right. Um, there's a lot that comes when you speak publicly, when you openly state what you believe and what you feel and your thoughts and opinions, and especially now more than ever. You know, look at people like Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, um, so many others um, that I can name. But speaking publicly, giving your opinion on anything, whether it's spirituality, politics, can put you at risk and you can become a target. But the reason I don't worry about those things is because I know that I know that I know I am divinely guided and protected. And see, when something is the truth, you don't have to beat anybody over the head with it. You don't have to chase them down. Hey, read this. Come to my church. Come to my mosque. Come to my circle. People will naturally gravitate towards the truth. Light will attract light. So those are some of the things that gave me comfort and a peace, knowing that in spite of anything that could come up, any dangers, I would go forward in what I know is in my heart and my soul. So I did on this journey. I began to not just read a lot of books, attend lectures. Let me also state, it would take you a lifetime to read every book, listen to every guru's book or preacher or whoever's book. We'd be dead and gone before we read every book, researched everything, turned over every stone. The cool thing about the technology of our spirit is sometimes you can hear something, and I'll go back to church. You know, the preacher may say something, it'll cut you like a knife. It'll hit right at your heart chakra. And you'd be like, damn, sure is. That is right. You know, your spirit will confirm things. And again, I talk about that intuition in your spirit will confirm things that you know is right. You don't have to read a book. You don't have to ask anybody, second guess. Your spirit will let you know. Your body will respond in a way that's like, damn, I know it's right, you know? And later on, you can discover on your own research, yep, I was on the right track, you know? I realized I was drawn to certain things and I didn't understand when I was younger why I was drawn to certain things. Um, Even as a teenager, one of my sister actually reminded me, hey, you were burning candles and carving in wood and doing things with flowers and incense back when we were kids. You remember that? And I said, yeah, I sure was. Damn sure was, you know? And fast forward to now, I realized um, my subconscious mind had a memory. You know, when we talk about past lives, um, you all will be surprised some of the things you're into now, whether it's art or singing or let's say you're in the military, you'd be surprised in your past life you may have done that. And that's a whole nother topic. Past lives. So I began to learn about building an altar. And that was key for me on my journey. Everybody may not feel a need to, but I definitely did as I learned to discover who and what I was, who and what I am, and dealing with my ancestors. Before I deal with any deities or energies, I always acknowledge my ancestors first, as I did in the beginning of this video. And ancestors are so important. If you don't know what an ancestor is someone who has passed on, died, transitioned. Is normally your direct bloodline, but ancestors can be also best friends. They can be also a lover, you know. It doesn't always have to be someone in your direct bloodline to be an ancestor, but normally it is the ones you were genetically related to. So, for example, if I am, doing something, let's say with driving, you know, um, or dealing with money, I will call on, hey, my ancestors who were excellent in mathematics, business, negotiation, dealing with money, finance, please step forward, okay, and assist me. Because your ancestors um, are alive and well. And I'm going to also touch on death today, too. Again, I don't want to forgive me if I'm jumping around, um, but we never die. We never die. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transferred, okay, into a different form. In this country that we call America, we are taught that, oh my God, death is so sad. It's final. It's the end. We're never going to see them or be able to have communication with them again. And Maury said, that is a lie, okay? And I've done my own research with that. I've taken the time to invest in my spirituality by getting certain readings, also sacrifices like meditation, following my intuition, going to help somebody, going to a certain place to receive certain messages that would directly remind me, hey, my ancestors are alive and well, they're communicating with me if we just slow down enough and have the spiritual eyes and the spiritual ears to hear and see the messages that are coming through. So I wanted to touch on that about ancestors. If you, well, let me pause that. So I began my journey by building an altar, and an altar is nothing more than a physical representation of your internal spirituality or your spiritual life. That's all it is. I don't worship the altar itself, but I use it to reprogram my mind based from things that I was taught that I found were incorrect, that did not apply for me. And remember, we all have a different, everybody needs a different prescription, okay, as far as your spirituality and what you think is best for you. What works for me may not work for you, okay? Your practices and things may not be identical to mine, and that's okay. They're not supposed to be. We're two different beings on different journeys that we signed up for. So I'm building an altar. I would always like to use a wood surface if you have on a wooden table or a shelf. If not, you can put it on the floor. Do whatever you got to do. And also a white cloth too. Colors is another thing we'll go into later. The power behind wearing different colors or using different colors. So I would use a white cloth. And if I have money, really a nice fancy white cloth to represent purity and neutrality. So that would be my base, is that white cloth, and simply a photo of a passed on loved one or an object. I have multiple loved ones on my altar who have transitioned. Some of their objects that were important to them. And I also incorporate the elements are very important. Earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. So for earth, I start out with a small house plant, something living. And if you don't have a real one, you can even, just the symbolism itself, you can use a fake plant, okay? But I would always use a real plant if you can. The fire, a candle, okay, a lit candle. If you don't do that, if you don't have that, even a little light up fake candle from the dollar store would work, okay? Because again, it is about your intentions, what you intend to do. Intention meaning your reasoning for doing what you're doing. Okay, so my intention for setting up my altar was to connect with my ancestors and have a stronger connection with spirit. So I've covered earth, fire, air representation. I use incense. Everybody doesn't like incense, I know, but that is what I use. There's other things you can use to represent air. Your air is all around, but I personally use incense for that air element. And then water. I keep a clear glass, if you have one, of clean water. And I make sure that water is clear and clean on a regular basis. And also, I might jump around, so bear with me. It's important that you cleanse your space. Wherever you intend to set your altar up, Cleanse your space. Whether it's with incense, um, prayer, even just your voice, prayer, meditation, your intentions to clean your space and keep a sacred space just for this altar. Also, my altar's moved around a lot, um, and I didn't want to have my altar on display like a fad or anything. It was very personal and very private to me. But in my prayer time, um, my spirit told me anybody have a problem with it don't need to be in your house. You know, and some people actually really did leave out. Because they weren't comfortable, which was just, hey, that person is not um, supposed to be a part of my life on this particular journey. If they have an issue with this, and that's fine. So, um, talked about photos, items, some of the elements. And again, all this research you can do for yourself. Please do your own research. Again, I don't know it all. I'm not perfect, but do your own research, okay? Trust no one's information but your own. Let me also state that. So, after the 5 elements, photos, certain objects that they liked. If your grandmother liked, let's say, I.W. Harper and Pall Mall cigarettes, okay? Or whiskey or a certain candy they liked. You can place those things up there. And what it does, it gives these energies, these spirits, more energy on the other side to assist you, okay? And also assist others and themselves. So I would also sit in my altar, and it's important that I call their names out. By calling their names out, it gives them energy and it keeps their spirit alive here on this plane. So I'm not going to go into all my details of my rituals, but I just want to stick to the topic of the altar. So not just setting treats out, but setting foods out. I would like to acknowledge your birthdays or their death anniversaries. Certain times, certain events of the year, spring equinox, fall equinox, certain major astrological events, I would tend to do more altar work. And again, that's just me. Or if I was on my cycle or my menstruation, is a much more powerful time for women. And that's a whole nother topic, to do any type of spiritual work or really get anything done that you need. So again, meditating at my altar. Meditation is the same as prayer, okay? It's putting in a prayer to your own ass, okay, for what you need help with and what you desire, and calling on those ancestors for help. I've had some rough days where I was boohoo crying like a baby, and I just let those tears fall right at that altar, okay? Again, that is my sacred space, and I do my best to keep that space clean and neat, because again, it is a external representation of my internal spirituality. My altar has changed many times over the years, and I'm sure it'll change again. As I grow and my consciousness evolves, things will change. So I'm going to move on from that, and actually, before I move on, so rituals. Again, what I do at my altar, you may want to do something else at yours. You may just want to stand there and look. That may work for you, okay? But remember, the best rituals are the ones you create yourselves. So if your ritual is, you know, what? Doing a backflip, turn around 3 times, you know, taking a shot, if that's your ritual, then stick with it. Make up your own ritual, what works for you. I always like to give the example of the placebo effect experiment. If anybody doesn't know what that is, real quick, doctors would give patients with certain ailments a pill that really didn't do anything. It was just a sugar pill. They say, here, take this. This is going to cure your pain in your shoulders or whatever it is. And the patients would take it. But it wasn't really any medication. It was just a sugar pill, placebo. And some people can come back and say, oh, I feel so great. That really worked. But really, what worked was their mind and how powerful our mind is telling ourselves what is and what is not. And what I'm telling you is do not come into agreement with what somebody else can tell you is or is not possible. Okay? Don't allow anybody to put a spell on you of what you can and can't do, what is and is not real. My philosophy is all things are possible. Anything is possible. I say, can you believe that? I saw a spaceship. You believe that? Yep, I believe any and everything is possible, especially in today's times. I'm waiting to see a lion walk down the street. But, so yeah, that was the placebo effect. So back to rituals, and why it's important to create your own rituals and your own personal spiritual practices, because it's reconditioning the mind on what you say is real. And just like that placebo effect, if you tell yourself you can fly, and it's maybe an extreme example for some people, if you tell yourself you can fly, I know that if we believe anything enough, it will happen, just like with the placebo effect. Oh, I took this pill. Their belief was in the pill, but they didn't realize it was really the power in their mind. Okay? So my belief is not in my altar, but my belief is in myself and the energies that rest inside of me. Because someone said, well, what if I don't have an altar? What if I'm homeless? What if I don't have, or I live with somebody where I can't do that? Well, remember, the body is the altar. Okay? I'll use some Christian references again because those are my roots. The body is a temple. Okay? How we dress our body, how we adorn our body, what we put in our body, what we listen to, what we watch on TV, what we eat. The body is the altar and the temple. So all of the elements are already inside of you: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. It's already in there. If all you can do is visualize a candle, visualize yourself in an altar doing certain things, guess what? It's real and it's just as effective. And again, that's why meditation is important. There's so many distractions. I would turn on my phone just to check an email or a text, and then next thing you know, I'm on Instagram, sucked in. I'm 3 to 4 pages deep looking at somebody else's content. I'm like, wait, stop. How did I get here? So many distractions. And that's why it's so important at this time to control your mind. Control your mind. And it's not that negative thoughts or negative self-talk won't come up, but the most important conversations are the ones we're having with ourselves. Meditation, affirmations in the morning, I like this sister that's out now, Iniko. I think it's Iniko. She's kind of like an Erykah Badu vibe, on some futuristic type shit, but I really like her. She has a song called King's Affirmations. I strongly recommend you guys listen to that if you have not heard it. King's Affirmations by Iniko. And just what we constantly say to ourselves, doing affirmation in the morning: I am great, I am important, I am powerful, I am beautiful. Just these little things, and not just saying it, but believing it, repeating it. Your cells in your body are listening to everything you say. If you say I'm fat, well, say, okay, I guess we fat then, Or if I'm ugly, okay, well, you just told 1 billion cells in your body you were ugly. Again, the power of the word. And again, what we come into agreement with and what we don't come into agreement with. So if I tell you, if you don't come to church every day and pay tithes, you're going to hell. Well, hell, shit, we already in fucking hell. Have you looked outside? Chicken pox, monkey pox, COVID. I mean, this is real life Sodom and Gomorrah we living in right now. Murders, fires, kidnapping. I mean, you name it. You name it. Shirley Caesar said, I got greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes. We got all that jumping off right now, So, it's about our perception of what we perceive to be real. Another example: glass half empty, glass half full. I can look at it and say, oh, it's almost full. You say, damn, it's damn near empty. Somebody else might say that about our perception. But one thing I can tell you on a spiritual journey is that once you see things, you cannot unsee. I can't remember what that movie is back in the day. They put on the magic glasses and see shit as it really is. Um, you can never unsee. You can never go back to the way you were on this journey. Um, Once you really see things as they are. So on your spiritual journey, um, one thing I can tell you that has helped me is follow your own spirit, your own guide, your inner voice. Um, you can't talk to everybody about these topics, about this information, because people just won't get it. I've heard of extreme cases where extreme, Islamic families or Christian families will, physically harm somebody for speaking these type of topics, in the home, you know, um, people getting put out the house, banned from family functions because they weren't screaming Jesus, Jesus, or whatever, the thing was, whatever the religion was, you know. And again, if it is the truth, you don't have to chase me down, kill thousands of people, hit me over the head, beg me to come join your group and follow um, your set of laws in your religion. To thy own self be true. You get one life and one shot. Each individual will decide what is true for them. So you telling me that the man lives out in the middle of the ocean on some unfound island is going to hell because he ain't hollering Jesus? Well, he never heard of Jesus. And I mean, hell, with the internet now, honestly, anybody still hollering that, I mean, hey, I kind of feel for you. You know what I mean? Everything is at our fingertips with the internet. Everything. You know, what we call black people, African Americans, we are the most conservative, most spiritual, most loving people on the planet. And we're in the worst conditions. Not just here in America, all around the globe. You pick a place. All around the globe. So I'm not knocking Christianity. I'm not knocking Islam. I'm not knocking any of that. I'm not knocking Buddhism, atheism, whatever floats your boat. You pick the pill that works for you. Okay? I took the blue pill. You know, like they said, it's 6 million ways to mob. Choose one. Choose your way. You gonna mob. How you gonna rock out? Okay? Um, but also in this journey, there was so much information coming at me. It was overwhelming. You may feel like you're going crazy at some point. And I was just obsessed like a mad scientist, up all night, couldn't get enough. In books, highlighting, searching on the internet, referencing lectures, referencing some of the great, master teachers, back and forth. It was like I was dizzy, I was drunk, like under a spell, you know. But I know that was my spirit, needing to absorb more light so I could expand my consciousness. So take your time. The right books will come to you. The right people, the right symbols will come to you. Um, I even prayed for my tribe, those who I'm supposed to be connected to, on this journey to appear. And those people are appearing, believe it or not. Those people that are for my highest good and highest vibration to appear. And a lot of old people have fell off or faded away into the background. And these are people I was real cool with, loved a lot of them. You know what I mean? It's nothing personal. It's just that I'm getting what I asked for. Clarity, a clear path, clean the debris off my path, you know? So be sincere. I wouldn't come with any alter egos of, oh, I want to be the smartest. I want to get in debates, spiritual masturbation of this religion is better. You're right. I'm wrong. No, 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 no. Fuck all that. This is personal. You have got to save your own ass. Okay? It's not about who gonna think you smart or cool or none of that. If you come with any of that, you already lost. You have to come with a sincere heart, a clean heart, and be clear with your intentions for seeking this information and this knowledge. And it will be revealed to you. It will be given to you. Another Bible reference, Psalms 82 and 6 talks about ye are gods. You know, um, I've learned on my journey to see divinity in everybody, everybody. Even a bum on a street or the hoedown on a corner, they still gods. You know, and that's why we have to be careful how we treat one another and who we disrespect, because you never know who that person's ancestors are or what deities or energies are working with them. They may not even be aware of, and then you find yourself getting towed up and fucked up because you done fucked around and disrespected somebody that you didn't have no business disrespecting, you know. So, um, and I like to draw a comparison to Islam, which I've been dealing with a lot, talking to um, some higher up people in Islam to learn more and study more with them. Allah, ALLAH, arm, leg, arm, head. Okay. Again, referencing the body, the temple, that ye are gods is the correlation that I make with that. Okay. You may have your own correlation or other things that hit you, your own aha moments. But it was important for me to see divinity in everybody. I don't care if it was black, white, LGBTQ, gay, whatever, disabled, one eye, one leg, whatever. I didn't care, and I still don't. Because for me, it was the God in me recognizing the God in other people. And that's how I like to view things. We all are divine. We were born divine. I was born baptized in primordial waters of my mother's womb. So I don't need a man to come and rebaptize me so I can get closer to God. Again, that's just me. No disrespect to anybody's religion. Um, and honestly, I still read my Bible, but I learned how to read it the way I think I should have been taught a long time ago, as an astrology book. The Bible is a book of spells in certain chapters if you know how to read it. Psalms, Proverbs, okay? Proverbs, excuse me. So I still use a lot of what I was taught in Christianity in my spiritual practices. For me, my reasoning, it invokes certain spirits and energies in me. Like, for example, anybody who knows me, I love that old time religion. I mean, that Reverend James Cleveland, that Shirley Caesar, those type of people, Wade Mahalia Jackson, because for me, that ushers in um, Big Mama and them, who my grandmother was and is to me. That old school, I ain't playing, that original foundation and principle energy that we are so far away from, in my opinion. Yes, change is good, but that energy is still very necessary and prevalent to bring balance or harmony, to bring harmony um, in our mind, bodies, and souls for me. So, yeah, I still use some things from Christianity and still read my Bible, and other sacred books. So I don't want any of us to get stuck on reading one book, only looking at one religion. Study them all. Taoism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, and you'll find so many similarities that lead all back to one source. So if you guys hear me shuffling around, I'm kind of shuffling back and forth between notes that I've taken. And again, this video is kind of on the fly. It's been on my heart to do it, and I just want to keep the momentum going. I don't want it to be another 6 months before I can speak to you all again. And of course, please like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. So I am also like to be more than just talk. I also like to give book references. Some books that really helped me was a brother, one of my favorite authors right now, Adika Butler. I'm going to spell it for you, ADIKA BUTLER. The brother has a book that was profound for me. It was a marker on my spiritual journey. It's called The Treasures of Darkness. The Treasures of Darkness. by Mr. Adika Butler. I highly recommend that book. Also, another book that I highly recommend is Kali, the Black Goddess of uh, Darksheen's War. So Kali, Kali, the Black Goddess of Darksheen's War. Darksheen is Dakshines. Darksheen's War. So I highly recommend those two books. There's many more. I'll do another um, video at some point with some spiritual books that I think are very important to have um, on this journey, just as a reference and to put things more in context as far as the incarnation here on earth, death, or what we call death. So again, our morals are up to us. What we decide is right, what we decide is wrong. Okay. Um, Now, if I go out and punch a kid in the face, you can say, "Oh, damn, that's you wrong. You know, you're a horrible person. You need to be put in jail." But what if I told you that kid, just killed my mother or just killed my child? Okay. Again, it's about perception. And what I've also understood and came to terms with in my prayer meditations that sometimes when people get fucked up, it's from some shit they did in the past. You know what I mean? If you see a motherfucker getting their ass fucked up and toe up, don't run help them. Don't get in it. Don't get in it. A lot of times that's karma. Okay. A lot of times it's karma. And I'm not by any means saying if you see a child hurt or getting toe up, don't try to assist the child. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, a lot of times what you see happen to people, sometimes, a lot of times it's karma. Some things they did in past lives, some things their relatives may have done, that they have to pay the cost for. So just keep that in mind before we rush to judgment or action on something that you probably don't want to get into because you don't want to catch any heat from what they got coming. And let me say this because in my natural everyday speech, I cuss a lot. So if cussing bothers you, this message may not be for you. Okay? So, the other thing I want to speak of my thoughts on my comparisons that I've been drawing on is the birthing process and the death process. I was drawing similarities in my studies on the way how we come into this world, we are born, and the way we transition or what we call death, the way we die. Um, if you've ever seen a baby be born, whether video or live, or if you've ever had a child yourself, childbirth is extremely dangerous for the mother and child. Okay. Um, when a child is being conceived, excuse me, not conceived, when a child is being birthed, um, they have to squeeze through that vaginal canal. It's tight, it's dark, it's painful, for both mother and child. And they go from breathing the embryonic fluid of the womb, embryonic fluid, to breathing air. Okay? Same similarity I drew in death. If you've ever seen anybody pass away, even if you've seen it on a movie, if you notice when the person's taking their last breath, there's like a squeezing going on like that. Breath is being squeezed, pushed out of the body. And a lot of people, when they transition, they will even defecate. They'll shit on themselves. And that's a whole nother topic, the seat of the soul and where the soul lies in the body and why that happens. But again, in the death, they go from breathing air to a different reality where they don't need to breathe air anymore. So I just want to look closer at the similarities of the way that we come in this world and the way we leave the world. So, Earth is a school. My grandmother would always say the school doors to life are open and there's no cutting class. Again, another video game reference. You get to a certain level, you level up. You go to another level, okay? Until you meet that final boss, at the end of the game, or the grand dragon, whatever it is on the game. So this is a level, okay? Or think of a high school, being a school or college. This is a level, Earth, and you go through so many stages or phases until you're able to graduate, or what we call die. I like to say transition, okay? And if you look at cultures all over the world, all cultures have some type of death ritual. I love down in the South, down in New Orleans, where they have those, it's like a marching band that plays when somebody dies. I forgot what they call it. But I love that. It's a big celebration in the street. People are dancing, partying. In some parts in Africa, the funeral, it goes on for days, like a week or more, like 10 days. And each day they doing something different. They wearing white, not black. Okay. Again, a party, a celebration, because they understand that even in Judaism, the body is prepared and people come to celebrate, certain things are done in a certain way because they understand that what we call death in America and westernized culture is not permanent. It's a graduation to a different state of being. So this place, Earth, is not our true home. We are here for a moment. Again, under the Bible reference, it says like our life appear like a vapor of steam. It only appear for a moment and then it disappears. You ever seen steam come from a pot or for a hot cup of coffee or tea? You see it for a second and it's gone. Okay. Same thing here in this realm of school we call life. We are here for just a moment. Time is going so fast. We don't know when our time is, as far as our day we will pass or die or transition. But again, the point is not for us to worry about that. Oh, am I going to die tomorrow? Am I going to die when I finish this video? No, 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 no. But my thought is that, did you live life every day to the fullest? Doing what you were called to do? Serving others in spirit and in truth, serving yourself? So that's what I would challenge people to consider and ponder on. So we all have different levels of understanding. Again, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't do this. Even in some African spiritual, traditional religions, ATRs, or if you don't feed those those spirits every day, they're going to get you. If you don't wear these kind of clothes and these colors on these days, you're going to be in trouble. No, bullshit. Okay? It is about our own perception, what we come into agreement with. Okay? So this can be heaven on earth based on my perception. If I'm living good, got a big mansion, I don't have to work, all my needs are met, I'm healthy, then I'm in heaven. I'm in paradise. My time is here. I can go and do what I want when I want. Oh, no, I can't do that because I got to work that day. Or I got to wait till I get off. Or I can't talk to you. My boss is coming. Or it can be hell on earth. If, I'm in poor health. I feel everybody's out to get me. Oh, oh, there's so many killings. Oh, the government's trying to get us. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, the children, save the children, feed the animals. It's like, enough, fuck. You know what I mean? Again, it's based on our perception of what is happening around you and what is happening to you and for you. So, like, again, out of the heart flows the issues of life. None of us can escape the issues of life. Just like none of us can escape naturally breathing, taking your next breath. It naturally happens like clockwork. You don't even think about it and you breathe. So back to the life and death examples. On my journey, I've learned to, I was so caught up with having the latest clothes, the latest fashion, the latest being in the in crowd. Because we all really just want to be accepted and understood and loved. That's really what it is. I'm realizing, do I need this car? I can't see the car. This very else to see the car and say, "Well, that's a nice car you got," or "Those are nice shoes you got on," or "I like your nails." But what about the internal? This is a superficial, instant gratification world. Don't get lost. And what's truly important, where the true value is within you. These things and these societies are set up to get us to look outside of ourselves, worship everything but ourselves, but our own self, our own image. Gotta have a Louis, Gucci, Vuitton. Gotta have a range. Gotta have Jordans. Gotta have an iPhone. Okay. Gotta have Starbucks. Gotta have all this shit. Gotta go take a picture on the beach. Gotta show them what I'm eating. Gotta show them what I'm doing. To get other people's approval that you are good, that you're good enough, that you're doing something that's worth something. Okay? So again, all this I'm saying, I know I may be all over the place, bear with me. To thine own self be true. What is important to you? And it's nothing wrong with having those things, but I'm just saying, have a realistic perspective on material things versus um, things of your spirit. As much as you feed and dress up the outside, are you also pouring into yourself on the inside? Invest in spirituality. Buy books. Take the class. Buy the lectures. Whatever it is you need to get readings. Okay? Invest in yourself, just like you invest in everything else. Again, prayer, meditation, your spirit will lead you and guide you to the books, to the readers, different forms of divination, to other like-minded individuals. I was in a car with a customer a couple weeks ago, and the truck in front of us said, "This is where the good shit happens." And I even know what company it was for, but that was on the back of the truck, and it said, "This is where the good shit happens." And something in my spirit resonated, said, "You're on the right track. Things are going up, things are getting better from here." As far as my spiritual life and me finding my way of communicating with spirit, and I know that was a sign from spirit. For me, my interpretation, you will find your own, whether it's on a billboard, again, a conversation you overhear two strangers having. Okay, spirit will show up in all sorts of ways. But again, a sincere heart, sincere intentions. Spirit is not going to force you and knock you over the head to do anything, okay? Nobody can force us to do anything, but the answers you are seeking are out there. When I come back, I will go into detail on some more things. But this was just a little, I can say quick. I've been on here about an hour to check in and just share a few things on my journey that have helped me to spark some food for thought. Again, not to tell you how to think or what to think, but for you to think for yourself. Because again, this is a personal journey. You came in alone, you're going out alone. All right, family, I think I'm going to get off of here. I don't want to ramble. I will be back with another video. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, leave any questions in the comments. This is doing her thing though, and I'm signing out. Peace.